Hey there, TC here with Technological Gadgets, bringing you the best in tech and making work for you. On this channel, we usually do tech reviews, but sometimes, we like to check out other people's setups, and this video in particular, we'll be checking out Justin Say's sort of ultimate modern desk setup, tour, mainly, if I'm not wrong, just his desk, where he edits stuff, at home and things like that. So we'll be checking that out. So, if you like these types of videos, make sure to drop me a like to let me know, and comment down below whose setups I should check out next. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to this channel if you'd like to help support me and what I do completely for free. But without further ado, let's get right into the video.
Here and welcome to my annual desk setup tour where I show you guys how
Okay,
I have my personal
he does this every year. That's kind of interesting.
desk setup laid out for video editing, productivity, and just like the day-to-day basis of the tech products that I use, some of the accessories that I have, and just all of the different pieces of the workflow that come together. So similar to my 2022 home tech tour, this is actually going to be the last desk setup tour in this space. And I'm actually in the main bedroom of my condo because I'm going to be moving in a couple months and building a completely new setup. And I'm really excited to show you guys some of the areas that are a little bit different, as well as a lot of the similarities that are going to be carried over, because this is a setup that I've worked on for many years now, and I'm relatively happy with it, to be honest. As always, if you'd like to win an item from this video, just go ahead and subscribe to the channel, drop a thumbs up on this video, and leave a comment down below as to what your favorite touch is of this setup. And also leave your Instagram username as well, because I'll be picking a winner in 1 month. So let's just get started with the desk. This is one that I worked on at the start of the pandemic, and it's one that we put together in a very custom format. I used to have 3 different desks in this office, and I found that the main one was just very cluttered, and I wanted to re-optimize that, especially after we purchased a dedicated office space to have multiple workspaces for the rest of the team. The idea that I landed on was to have a standing desk in an L-shaped format that had a ton of storage. And because I already had this desk from Bow Concept, I figured it'd be a good way to reuse it and just purchase an L-shaped frame from Uplift that was commercial grade and was able to support the weight of this relatively heavy desk.
The interesting part is I didn't know that the L-shaped electric standing desk exists. I only know like the regular ones, but not L-shaped one. That's actually kind of interesting.
And on the L return, I actually go with a 2-tone color format, which was walnut, and it's actually a Carlby countertop from IKEA. It's available in a few different finishes, including walnut as well as an oak, and I believe they have another color as well now. But just getting creative with countertops gives you a good level of durability while also adding some color, and so I feel like it's an idea.
Yeah, but if you want it to last very long, I would still mostly suggest like an actual a solid wood top that you can get, even though it's a bit more expensive, but I'm sure he's able to afford it. It's a solid wood top that you can get from like the wood supplier and stuff like that. I think they will be happy to supply you, if you are willing to pay the price for it. I think that is a really good option, in my opinion, at least, if you have the money.
That a lot of you guys should definitely try if you have the space to. This entire desk is actually able to go up and down, and so if you want to use it as a standing desk, you can, but admittingly, in the past couple years, I've really only used it in the standing format 1 or 2 times. Another piece of furniture that I also added a little bit afterwards is a CB2 cabinet over on the right side, and that is the backdrop that you guys see in the videos, and it is just a good way to have some display items on the ladder shelves, and while also having quite a bit of storage below, and I think it fills in that gap very nicely while also matching the Carlby finish. So if you think of getting the walnut desk and also the walnut furniture, just know that it does match together pretty nicely. And also behind me that you guys have been asking in the video is where I picked up the posters from, and they're all from the Automobilist, which is just various car posters. I know they have some Formula 1, some 24 Hours Le Mans, and so I just kind of have a variety of those throughout the office space and the home office. So when it comes to the core tech of the desk setup, the first thing that you'll notice is the dual XDR displays from Apple. And these are displays that for 99.9% of computer users out there just don't really make any sense.
That is true.
They are overkill, they're relatively expensive as well, but for what I do when it comes to color grading YouTube videos and also color grading hundreds of pieces of footage on a relatively daily basis and also producing 100 videos a year on YouTube, I find that I have gotten very good use out of these displays because the colors are very accurate and it's just a good way to have a reference monitor when it comes to dealing with color.
Yeah, I would probably suggest not two. I'll suggest one of these display XDRs, and maybe the other one can be a different type of monitor. But yeah, that's what I would suggest. But definitely at least having one of these for for really high and professional work, I think that could be a really good option.
Who is in professional and commercial photography or videography, then you can probably find a justification for a monitor of this price.
Yeah, one,
that
maybe
being said,
not
though,
two.
there are other options out there that are a fraction of the cost and with calibration can actually get relatively close within the level of diminishing return. And Apple also has their new studio displays now, which came out many years after this. And if you can find one in stock, is a really good option as well if you don't need the HDR capabilities or its max brightness. Another product that I feel like is really underrated is a screen bar. So when I'm editing in the evening, you can't really see what is on the keyboard if you don't have a backlit keyboard, but just in general, you don't want to just be staring right into your display. So having some ambient or offset lighting is very important, and that is the BenQ screen bar.
And it doesn't take up a lot of space too.
It is really simple in its concept. It mounts on the top of the monitor and it comes with a dial that allows you to just turn it on or off and also adjust the brightness and the color balance. You can also have it set to like an automatic mode, but this is definitely a more expensive option and the top.
We've got an iPhone 14 in a mouse case and we're going to drop it whilst bungee jumping.
Okay, sorry about that.
But I've seen options for $20 on Amazon that are still able to get the job done. So it really comes down to what you need. But in my scenario, if I'm just doing general work, then I usually have a warmer light, so it puts less strain on the eyes. But when it comes to video editing, I usually have a cooler light setting. That way my eyes are neutralized and I can reference the colors on the screen.
That is very smart.
I've also tried blue light glasses from Bailey Nelson in the past, and the reason why I like that model specifically is because it doesn't have a tint, which is again important when it comes to doing photo and video editing, where you have to have a good representation of the color. So I think that's a good tip for a product to have on your desk. Another really cool piece.
Still, what I would suggest is to have if you're wearing glasses, there's two pair of glasses. One is like a blue light one, and the other one is just with no coating, nothing on it. The reason is so that when you're color grading and stuff like that, you wear the ones that have nothing on it, just pure glasses. And then after that, when you're doing anything else, to have your blue light glasses on, so that way you can get the most out of your color accuracy while making it less fatiguing on your eye. That's what I would recommend.
Of technology, they can
so only when you're color grading, use the regular glass.
Also add to your desk is a water filter. And this is one from a company that I'm sure you guys have heard of, and that is Lark. And I want to give a huge thanks to them for sponsoring this video. They're very well known for their water bottles that have the UV light technology, and they've been extremely popular, and I'm really excited to check one out. The perfect use case for this water pitcher is I'm someone who likes to sit at my desk for like most of the day, and I don't really want to get up. But of course, it's important to drink water and stay hydrated,
use a bottle then?
Because that is just what you need to do. So to have a nice pitcher of filtered water next to me while I'm working is really important. And this right here is the Lark PureVis pitcher with advanced filter. It isn't just any traditional water filter because it actually has a two-stage process. You have the advanced filter itself, which has the nano zero filtration tech behind it that was developed for heavy-duty applications such as oil spill and wastewater, and the activated carbon traps contaminants and VOCs. These Lark filters last up to 50% longer than leading brands and filtering 60 gallons of water before the next replacement. On top of that though, from the tech element, you can actually connect this over to the Lark app and it will actually track your filter health as well as your water quality to give you information that is important in knowing when to switch the filter for optimal results. Beyond the filtration, it also provides purification through its PureVis technology, which is what's most interesting about Lark and how it utilizes UV light to be able to purify the water and also clean the bottle. This UVC light technology neutralizes bacteria and viruses and focuses on removing pollutants from the water. This process eradicates 99.9999% of bacteria and gives you clean water anywhere. And the self-cleaning actually activates every 2 hours, basking the water and also the inner areas of the bottle. So if you guys want to go ahead and check out the Lark PureVis Pitcher with advanced filter, I'm going to leave a link down below, and a huge thanks to them once again for sponsoring this video. So when it comes to the computer setup right now, I have the Apple Mac Pro 2019. I bought it during the pre-order process, and I spec'd it out to, I believe, 16 cores, and I've also added some storage internally as well as GPUs over the years, and this thing has been able to churn out like 300 or 400 videos, and in some workflows it is relatively fast, and in others I would have liked it to be a little bit faster, but generally speaking it has been a powerhouse, and the reason why I've stuck to it is just the amount of ports, the customizability, and all the parts that I have invested into it right now. With that being said, the Apple MacBook Pro 14-inch with the M1 Max processor is faster than this computer. I've used it for color grading, for video editing, and it is
the M1 is insane.
And even though the Mac Studio is an option to switch to for a professional workflow, I'm personally waiting for the next generation of Mac Pro because the Mac Studio is still not very customizable, and I'm just too lazy to switch over the entire workflow. When it comes to the accessories and peripherals, the first thing is the IKEA desk
I guess the
mat.
connectivity.
This thing was like $30, and I have it in all of my setups, and I find that it is a really good mat.
It's a leather one. I did review one that is the square one. It also comes in like a desk mat format. I think for the desk mat one is $25, the regular one is $10, and that one is in collaboration with Asus, and that one is really good for not only like other stuff, but it's also really good for gaming as well. So yeah, I would recommend that if you're a gamer. But yeah, if you're looking for pure aesthetics, this one looks pretty good.
Sill on the front, and it always stays in place. The only problem that I've kind of noticed with it is that because of its metal surface, iPads and certain tech products just get stuck on it relatively easily. So I might switch over to the Orbit Key, which also has that cable channel on the back, so I could have my iPhone charging cable as well as a USB-C cable easily accessible. But if you're looking for like the perfect desk mat, honestly, this one has been really good for writing and also for any desk setup, and it just fits the size of this desk perfectly. The keyboards that I've currently been jumping around with are the Apple Magic Keyboard, which I've used for many years, as well as the Logitech MX Mechanical and the Keychron K6. I love the way the MX Mechanical types, I love the way the Keychron K6 looks, but I'm also very used to the Apple Magic Keyboard because
if you want, I'll most suggest you to get a custom keyboard, a custom wireless keyboard. You know, so that not only can you choose the switches that you want, you know, you can also make it sound a lot better and feel way much better, since I think you have the money for it. That is the upgrade that I would suggest you, and plus you can make it look however you want. So there you go.
Also use it on my MacBook, but one thing that has never been changed on my desk setup since the start of YouTube is the Logitech MX line of mouse. This right here is the latest generation of the MX Master 3S mouse, and it is just perfect. The ergonomics are great, the battery life is great. It also has like a very silent click now, which to be honest is one that I'm still trying to figure out if I like, but the scrolling capabilities and the tracking is just really good, and the horizontal scrolling is something that every video editor needs to be able to navigate the timeline really quickly.
Yeah, that's
Logitech
something
has
that's
definitely
really
built
nice.
out their ecosystem really nicely over the past few years with Logitech Options and being able to customize different keys even in a productivity workflow. So yeah, I just can't say enough good things about this, and I personally went with the graphite color because when I had the white one, it just got dirty really quickly. The other product that always lives on my desk that is very specific to my industry is the color grading panel. It's the Blackmagic one for DaVinci
I heard
Resolve,
about that.
and when it comes to grading all of our footage, the way our workflow works is the following. So whenever the footage comes out of the SD card, the first thing I do is I transfer it onto a fast NVMe drive internally on the computer. From there, I drag the footage into DaVinci Resolve, and that is where I process the flat log footage or raw footage from the red into Rec 709, which is the color space that you guys see. I just go ahead and process each clip, and from adjusting the highlights, the shadows, the white balance, saturation, and masking, it is just a lot faster with a color grading panel, and I can just like watch TV while I'm like navigating through each clip, and as all those clips are processed, I then export them out into Apple ProRes, which is what the editing software Final Cut Pro 10 likes.
I personally use DaVinci Resolve. I think it's one of the best like free video editors out there. Yeah, and it's and even you see like people that are doing stuff like that, they still use DaVinci Resolve because of its color grading. So you know, be it whether you know in a high setting or you know whether you're looking for something free, DaVinci Resolve is still really
within my RAID drives, which is important because these
something
RAID
I
drives have a
recommend.
redundancy.
I'm not sponsored, by the way.
So in the event of one of the drives failing, the data is not corrupted because I can just swap out the drive and everything on there is safe. And so when you have important editing projects with your exported footage, you want to make sure it is on a drive that is either backed up or using a RAID 0 setup. As for the audio setup, the one that I use at the moment is the Rode NT microphone. It's the XLR model, and I've used this as my main voiceover microphone for I think 3 or 4 years now. It is not the most expensive one on the market, but I find that it suits the tone and the voice that I'm going for relatively nicely, with a nice punch to it that doesn't sound too radio-like, but it's just the option that I've gone with. And when it comes to preamps, I've tried the Apollo, and I also use the Mix Pre, which is probably the best preamp that I've used to date when it comes to the wireless and also USB computer setup. It definitely isn't the prettiest compared to the.
As digital assets become mainstream, how can investors feel confident
Apollo, but sometimes it's just a really easy system that I bring with me on all travel. So in terms of what is on the monitors, I use the Logitech Brio 4K webcam. It was one of the first 4K webcams that came out on the market, and I think it's just a really solid option. At the end of the day, a webcam is a webcam, and even though you can use your iPhone nowadays, I always want to have my iPhone near me, and so I don't really want to use
what I'll suggest, since this has come out, you know, maybe you can try out the Insta360 Mini. That one has a way better, you know, webcam quality, plus you know, it's on the game also. You can like move it around and do a lot of stuff with it, you know, automatically without, you know, like what you're doing here, having to physically move the webcam itself. And yeah, that is what I would recommend if you have the money to upgrade.
As a webcam camera, and for the most part, for the calls that we go on, the webcam quality doesn't really matter, but this is a model that just mounts on top of the XDR display. It looks very seamless, and it delivers great quality when we need it. It does have autofocus. You can control the settings within the Logitech app, which I definitely recommend, but it's just a very solid and seamless looking one. So if you're willing to spend the money, there's that, and there's also the one from Insta360, which looks pretty cool, but I haven't had the chance to check that out.
That is really good.
But it is very expensive in terms of aspects of utility that most people need relative to the cost of what you're looking to spend on something for conference calls. So when it comes to the new speakers that I've added to my desk, these are the Totem Acoustic KinPlay Slims. I used to have the KEF LSX, which were some great speakers, but they just really weren't made for a computer speaker setup, in my opinion, and they just like stopped working.
What do you mean?
Which is kind of unfortunate because they were quite expensive.
Yeah, I was gonna
say. In terms of the best overall value for a good speaker at a pretty good price for any like computer or desk setup, my recommendation is still the Audio Engine A2 Plus.
Yeah, it's a
Kanto
good,
does
like,
make some good products as well, but I just found the audio engines to always be very impressive. But if you just need a little bit more power or just want that next level up and are willing to pay for it, then something like the Totem Acoustic can be a good option to look at. I really like it in the satin white color, but the way I have it set up is through the RCA to the Dragonfly that goes into the USB of the computer. And from there, I'm able to control it using the remote, the volume, the input, and I can also stream music to it wirelessly. But just in terms of enjoying music and the sound quality itself, I've always been really happy with products from Totem Acoustic.
Pretty good, like multimedia speaker, I would say.
Setup as well as a tower at the office, and it's actually a Canadian company as well, which is cool. So these are actually cheaper than the KEF LSX, and I would say they're relatively comparable when it comes to the wired functions. Another very important accessory that I use is the Thunderbolt dock. This right here is a Thunderbolt 3 dock from Belkin, and although they have a Thunderbolt 4 dock, the Mac Pro that I have only supports up to Thunderbolt 3.
Yeah, that's kind of sad.
So that is what I use at the moment. It gives me an SD card slot on the front, as well as USB ports, and also have other accessories that are connected to it. But having access to ports, not only when it comes to charging, but also data on your desktop is a good way to just add
especially when it's like easily accessible.
In addition to that, I also have power outlets in various places, as well as fast charging cables. And there's also a wireless charging stand that I use, and the one that I have at the moment is from Native Union. It is really simple. It uses the MagSafe on the back, and even though it isn't the fastest method of charging, it's just nice to have displayed in front of you. And there's also a little dock on the bottom for AirPods to charge as well.
Yeah, you can use it like a phone stand as well, so that's nice.
These are accessories that I just like to have at the desk, because sometimes I want my phone charged right away, or in other scenarios,
and a really good use for this is, you know, if you want to film TikToks and stuff like that, you can always just put it there and film some videos, TikToks or whatever, and then, you know, just pick it up and get on with your day.
have it on the wireless charging stand
A lot of people
to be
don't know
able to
that
take
hack,
a look
but
at
it's
any
very, very
notifications or even during a conference call. A few other small stylistic accessories include accessories from GroveMade, which I have
okay.
for like
Yeah,
different
GroveMade.
tripod and SD card pieces, and also from UGMonk, which is the notepad that I'm trying to use a little bit more to keep track of productivity and tasks.
Yes, it's the
These are
overpriced
ways that you can kind of dress up your desk
notepad
and
with
add a bit of
stand ones.
personality with it, but I always try to declutter as much as possible because there's just so much stuff on here on an everyday basis, but you guys don't see that because we're filming right now. From a storage standpoint, even though we're going to talk a bit more about the RAID setup that I use a little bit later, one of my favorite new products comes from SanDisk. They have a dock that allows you to have different types of card readers, including
yes, I've heard about
There's
that.
also CFast, SD card, and all that. So to have all of
They're
that
working
at its
a lot of
maximum
different
speed
cameras.
on one enclosed
This is
dock
what you would want.
that looks super industrial is just such a game changer from video creators out there. And in addition to that, they've also launched their new Pro Blade setup that includes these small, super fast SSDs that go up to 4 terabytes. And you're able to use it at your desktop with the dock that has 4 different slots for all of your drives, but also take it on the go on a transporter and give you great read and write speeds with tons of durability and just reliability in general. So I think you guys are kind of seeing the trend here. I'm on the road a
looking to pick
ton,
that up.
on
That's
about
pretty
100
interesting.
flights a year, and so being able to have an effective workflow
Mm-hmm.
that is able to be a very comfortable place to edit at speed at home, while being able to just take it on the go and have that same workflow.
If you want that, still you should plug in your what I'll suggest is the 16-inch MacBook Pro, you know, the maxed out version with the M1 Ultra, instead of your Mac Pro. But yeah, that's besides the point.
Very important to me. Of course, some of the other areas around my desk setup are also very important to me. One of the ones that I've talked about for many years now is my projector. I have a projector behind me, which is one from BenQ, and that displays a 4K image onto the wall right there. And the reason why I didn't want to put a TV there is simply because it would look really terrible. This room is not like that big. I feel like it looks a lot bigger on YouTube, but being able to have a large
wide angle
100-inch
camera
projection onto that screen while watching Formula One or hockey while editing just makes it a lot easier, and it's something that I'm always looking forward to using. I also have a Sonos soundbar that is hooked up on that side to give good amount of sound, and I can also stream music to it. But I feel like this desk setup for like a main home setup is a relatively good use of the space that there is in a room that
pretty
is about
efficient, I would
11
say.
feet by 11 feet. When it comes to the cable management setup, this desk is actually very well optimized because it has a ton of hollow elements. There's a channel that goes all the way along the back, as well as 2 exposed areas on each side of the desk, and that is something that I really haven't seen before, and a huge reason why I stuck to this desk even after I was taking everything down. I'm able to have the speaker wires channel into each side of the desk and have all of the slack tied up and hidden away. And whenever I want to make a modification, I just have to go ahead and open up this little compartment right here, and I can reorganize everything that is needed. This standing desk also has 2 sets of power bars, so I can have everything plugged in, wired in, and all of that slack is hidden away. So even though it does come in at quite a cost, this Bow Concept option, it is one that has been really practical and I've gotten my use out of it. Another small accessory that I've also added to my home office is a Vitruvi Essential Oil Diffuser. This is something that I've seen around a lot, and I've had like similar products before, such as the Aromatech and also the one that I picked up from a hotel that I enjoyed staying at. And so I kind of like to have those around the house, but the Vitruvi one is just one that I was very curious about, and so far it's been a pretty good product. It's relatively small, and I got it in the gray ceramic. It's pretty well built, and all you have to do is fill it up to the water line and drop 20 to 30 drops of your favorite essential oil. And even though I am still trying to test out which one I like the most, the cedarwood one I think smells pretty good. And so having that in a space that you spend a lot of time in can be really beneficial. So that paired with the Lark, for example, are just a few different tech accessories that are a little bit outside of the box of like
but it makes your space way more comfortable.
Setup where it's like wireless chargers, docks, storage, and all that kind of stuff. But I've been trying to add more of the home elements to all aspects of my house because I've kind of
because you still gotta remember it's at the end of the day it's still a human in this setup. So yeah, I gotta make it comfortable for
that all I want to do when I'm at home is work. But otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching this video of my
Yeah, and it increases
2022
productivity as
personal
well.
desk setup. And yeah, I feel like there's been some good refinements, but over the past
Yeah,
years,
definitely.
it's kind of trended towards a productivity and video focus instead of being like that fun desk setup that you guys saw when I was growing up. As always, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you go ahead and drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all in the next one.
Yep. So yeah, well, what do you think about his setup? Yeah, I personally think that it's pretty good, and yeah, I guess it's a pretty high-end setup. You know, as I said throughout the video, there's some small changes that I will make to its setup to make it just better in general. But yeah, overall, I really like his setup, really like his aesthetic and things like that. So yeah, and I think it's a really good sort of tech YouTuber. So what do you personally think? What do you personally think, and how does your setup look like? You know, let me know all of it down in the comment section below. And if you like these types of videos, you know, make sure to drop me a like to let me know, and yeah, also comment down below whose setup you'd like me to check out next, and I'll be sure to do so. Also, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you in the next video.